Welcome to my first ever Roblox review video. This is episode 1 of the Lazy Review, or Lazy's Reviews, or Lazy Reviews, or whatever. Today we're going to be reviewing this Hell's Kitchen type of game on Roblox called Scary Sushi. It's a Roblox horror game where you cook stuff and get chased by spooky monsters. For this review video, we're going to be reviewing Chapter 1 of Scary Sushi, because as of recording these lines, the game only has 2 chapters, Chapter 2 releasing back in December. For this episode, we're going to be looking at Chapter 1 of the game. Let's dive straight into it. The game opens up with this chef man on a TV screen reading the chefs, aka us the players. Also the chef's name is Hiroshi Kimura. Now your task from the Hiroshi Kimura, or Kimura is the short name I'm gonna call him, has given you a task, and that task is to cook up the finest dinners for the guests. You have to cook up a 5-course meal. For the first course, you're gonna need to collect some rice and nori that can be found in the middle area. While you try to grab those ingredients to cook up the finest dinners, that's shown on the top right of your screen with a timer showing you what ingredients you need to cook up, you have to avoid the janitor that the chef has mentioned, the janitor's name being Norman. Norman is the first threat that you will encounter for Chapter 1, and he's pretty simple to dodge. His main pattern is just circling around the area, basically circling around the middle area where you can obtain your rice and nori. If he spots you, he will start chasing you down. Thankfully, you are able to outrun him, and also you're able to duck into safe rooms. The safe rooms being the middle area and back into the kitchen area. Any other long hallway, he's going to go follow you there. Also, he has an audible idle noise and also a red glow, so you won't accidentally turn around a corner and get jump scared by him. Now that I've already talked about Norman himself, the funny janitor man, we can talk about the main gameplay of this game. Basically, the whole gameplay is pretty simple. You just go back and forth and grab ingredients to cook up whatever meals that are shown / orders on the top right of the screen, as I've already mentioned. Once you grab the ingredients from the said area, you can just bring them back to your little area and cook them up. For rice, you put in a pot. For the nori, you put in the Nori Master 5000. And for the other ingredients that are going to be showing up later on in the other courses, you can just chop them up. And there's also 2 plates on the right, or you can just store whatever things you were holding. By the way, you can only hold up to 2 items. After that, whatever you have cooked, you can put it on the table and then deliver on the top area. There are a set amount of foods that you need to deliver on the little area. The number does increase the more players you have. In solo, I'm guessing there's only 3 you have to put in, or 5. Also, you have 3 lives. Getting killed by any of the monsters, like for example Norman, will cause instant death, make you lose a life. Failing one of your tasks also causes you to lose a life, and failing the main course also causes instant death. So yeah, for the first course, all you need to do is just go back and forth to collect yourself some rice and nori. First you collect the rice, then the nori, then you have to do 2 foods at the same time. That is pretty simple. All you gotta do is just grab the rice, or whatever foods you have, and put them on the plate. It doesn't have to be in order or anything, you just have to grab what you need. The maximum amount of ingredients that you're gonna get throughout an order is a maximum of 4. But that doesn't show up until course 3. And yeah, there's everything I have to talk about for course number 1. It's pretty simple, just dodge Norman, don't let him spot you, and you should be fine to collect all your noris and stuff. One thing I would like to mention before we move on to course number 2 is that after completing each course, there will be a little result screen, showing the players from number 1 to how many other players there are, and how much escapes they have, how many foods they have made / dishes, and how much money they receive. The higher the number, the more money you receive. In order to get to a higher rank, you just need to cook up more foods. And now it is on for course number 2. After beating the first course, the chef congratulates you for your cooking efforts. Before the chef could say anything else, there is an incoming transmission by some unknown people or thing or whatever named the Night Keepers. I'm guessing there's some kind of government agent type of thing, but we don't really know much about it from both chapters 1 and 2. Night Keepers inform us that we are trapped in some kind of interdimensional dimension, but it gets swiftly cut off. After that, the chef will like to see how the chefs, aka you the player, cook up fish. Course number 2, you have access to the fish farm, where you can collect up to 4 fishes: tuna, salmon, flounder, and eel. And also, a threat lurking in the waters, since the chef man exclaims that the fish farm is going under a renovation, or some kind of octopus entity. Speaking of that octopus entity, let's get on with that entity. For the second course monster, aka the fish farm monster, we got Oscar. Oscar is the octopus that you see in the water. Oscar isn't the hugest threat and probably one of the threats in Chapter 1 that you're barely going to see at all. That's only in the cutscene or if you die to him by touching the water. When you make your way to the fish farm, you just gotta jump on some platforms to grab whatever fishes you need, and then head back. Though, as the chef said earlier, is to not touch the water. Because touching the water is instant death, and Oscar will kill you. So you gotta do some simple parkour, right? Well, no. Because the gimmick here is that these little platforms will sometimes turn red. And when they turn red, you only have about a second and a half or a millisecond to react to quickly jump off of the platform. If not, then the platform will sink, and if you're on top of it, well, you're gonna touch the water when it sinks and die to Oscar. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for the second course. You just gotta repeat what you did, except you gotta jump on platforms and avoid Oscar. Same thing with Norman. And now it is time for course number 3. After completing the second course, the chef congratulates the chefs, aka you, again for cooking up another epic meal for the guests. For course 3, there is a new area that you need to explore to get more ingredients. That new area is the vegetable garden. And we're going to be going over that, since the chef goes over that as well. The vegetable garden is pretty simple. In the vegetable garden, there are 4 types of ingredients you can find. Those are carrot, cucumber, pear, and radish. They all cycle through 4 stations, that being water, sunlight, fertilize, and enrichment. Every 10 seconds, it will do a rotation. All the stuff will rotate in a clockwise motion. Meaning that you can't check just one station and find your item and then bring it to the kitchen. You have to check each of the stations to find that thing, or to pay attention to the rotation system. Though, half of the time you won't even know where the ingredient you're looking for / vegetable, so you're just going to have to check all of them. After the chef explains everything about the new vegetable garden, you get interrupted again by the night keepers, exclaiming that Kimura, aka the chef, is not what he seems to be, and he's harvesting and selling some kind of mutated thing before it gets cut out by a weak signal. The night keepers' very last things they have to say is that you need to get the hell out of here. Yeah, the game's story's getting pretty juicy. We got some night keeper goobers, some mysterious chef man who has hired us to cook up some meals. Now, I'm not going to be delving into the lore of this game, but I gotta say, the lore is pretty simple to understand, but I won't explain it, but you know, you can figure it out for yourself. After that, the chef has to make a PSA, exclaiming that there are some leaky pipes, and that there is a threat in one of the stations that loves radishes. So let's go over these 2 new things. For course 3, there are 2 new things that we have to watch out for: the leaky pipes, and one of the new monsters in one of the stations that loves radishes, name being Livy. First, we'll go over the leaky pipes. The leaky pipes will show up in the hallway where the janitor, aka Norman, patrols the area. Stepping on one of the puddles makes you slow, and after 5 seconds, I think, you'll go back to normal speed. You can dodge these leaky black puddles by jumping or sidestepping over them. You know how I said that Norman's like one of the easiest threats to avoid? Well, thanks to the leaky pipes, it makes him more of a threat. So for example, if you're getting chased by him and he's like hot on your tail, or right behind you, or you just saw him as you turn around a corner, touch a leaky pipe, or one of the puddles on the ground, oh well, it's GG's for you, my brother. Now that we've already gone over the leaky pipes, we're going to be looking at Livy. Livy is the 3rd monster that you can encounter in the 3rd course. She shows up in the radish station, or she only shows up in the radishes area, as explained by the chef. When you stumble upon Livy in one of the stations that contains those radishes, she's going to immediately spew out some toxic toxins. And you have about, I think, a second to immediately turn left or right to avoid those toxins. If you keep on standing near the toxins, or standing in front of where she sprays out the toxins, you will die, your screen turning completely green. And also, if you quickly rush into the station room, then you're just going to get instantly killed. Overall, she's pretty simple to dodge, and if you have fast reaction times, don't quickly enter the stations, then you should be fine. And that is everything for course number 3. You just gotta repeat the same things except with 2 new mechanics, or 1 new mechanic, and 1 new threat. Oh yeah, one thing I'd like to mention before we move on to course number 4 is that no, you do not need radishes as one of the ingredients. so Livy will always be camping the radishes area. Now it is on for the 4th course. After completing the 3rd course, the chef announces that there's 3 courses down and only 1 left to go. And the chef has also opened up the final ingredient area in the game, being the process and research area. In the process and research area is where you can find the final ingredient that you need to complete the 4th course, and that is the secret ingredient. What is the secret ingredient? I don't know, but that's what the chef says, it's a secret ingredient. I'm just going to be referring the secret ingredient as ink orbs, because that's what they look like. So for the 4th course, we only have 1 new ingredient added, and 1 last threat added as well. So let's go over that. Not much is explained for the research and process and research area, and also the new threat, but I'll go over it. Walking past the Kimura's research elevator, you can head into a 2-way area leading down to a big old warehouse area with 3 giant flies. These humongous 3 big flies are called triplets. The triplets will patrol the area and circle around with a big old cylindrical beam. In order to avoid them, you basically just have to wait until they go by before ducking and proceeding and getting further and further, collecting your ink orb in the research and process area. The flies are pretty simple to dodge, though it is pretty intense, but overall, you can just get past them, it is pretty simple. And also, obviously, if you touch their light, it's instant death, so watch out for that. After you make your way past the 3 little triplets, you can climb up to the ladder and activate a switch, making this cool machine where it drops down some balls as they get smushed and dragged and sucked up into a straw. Comes out a glass with some black substance in it, aka the secret ingredient. Now all you need to do with the cup is just make your way back out of where you came from, avoiding the triplets and bringing your little secret sauce onto the area. You don't have to do anything with it, unlike the rice, nori, fish, or vegetables where you have to do something. All you gotta do with the secret sauce, secret ingredient, ink orb thing, it's not even an orb even though it does show it as a orb, is to just put it on the table. Yeah, that is everything for course number 4. Pretty simple, you just gotta rinse and repeat everything you have to do, except now you gotta do a very, very long, epic research area thing. After completing the 4th course, we get another transmission by the Night Keepers, informing us that they have detected some void entities and that they found an unusual exit on the 2nd floor. In order to get to that 2nd floor, you, the player, is gonna have to take the elevator, the Kimura Research Lab elevator, located in the process and research area. Night Keepers are able to open up the elevator, but not for long, as it's only for about 1 minute and 5 seconds. And the Night Keepers ending the transmission. Don't worry, this is not going to be the last time we're going to see them, Night Keepers. They're going to show up later. After the transmission ends, the chef Kimura himself is very impressed of all the foods he have cooked up, and that he informs us that the special guests, our special guests, want to meet us in person. That final course is dessert, and that dessert is you. Except that you quickly run out and make your way to the elevator, as you have to do the seek chase-like thing with some very banger themes, as the entire place is red, dodging all the spooky monsters you have encountered, Norman, Oscar, Livy, and then making your way to the elevator, narrowly avoiding the spooky triplet. After making your way to Kimura's research lab, you head into a big old room and get greeted again by Kimura himself. Kimura has this whole spiel about how he was the best sushi restaurant in the world for 15 years, but after a while, critics have completely ridiculed him of his title and gave it to some fusion restaurant. Kimura wanted to prove those critics wrong, so deep below in the ocean, he was able to find a peculiar specimen, creature of a kind, a totally non-angler from pressure angler that produces these inky black orbs. With these inky black orbs, he was able to put them in food, making the food taste very tasty and familiar. The only side effect, eating anything with these inky substances turns you into a monster. Everything make into a big room where Kimura explains that this creature, angler, totally non-angler from pressure, is not from this world, and is from some other world. Kimura explains that this creature is in between a world called the Void. Kimura doesn't know how the creature got to the world, though he is able to access the world via the Void portal that he has created. Kimura explains that he's currently in the final testing phase of the Void portal. After Kimura explains the whole Void portal and its final testing phase, the last thing he says is that, fortunately, you won't be able to see it yourself, because he is coming after you. After he says his menacing line big old door on the right slowly opens, revealing some kind of creature monster. But before he can even get to you, thankfully the Night Keepers were able to activate the Void Portal and make your grand escape. So as you get chased by Cameron himself, you have to do the very last little chase scene where you have to jump over some platforms that collapse, ending off with you jumping into the Void Portal. That's how Chapter 1 ends. Chapter 2 is going to be a lot less hectic, crazy, a lot more story-driven with the Void. After completing Chapter 1, it shows you a little resort screen, showing that you escaped, how many foods you've completed, and how much money you have gained from completing those foods, and you being able to return to the lobby. So, what do I think of Scary Sushi? Well, I think the game is great. It's definitely really cool to turn a concept like, for example, Cooking Mania into a horror game on Roblox. A spooky premise story of some crazy, insano evil chef man finding some not pressure angler producing eggs to then turn people into spooky monsters to make your sushi taste quite better. And Night Keepers, well, I don't really know much about the Night Keepers, but yeah, they're pretty interesting. So overall, I give this game an 8 out of 10 ink orbs. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my review video. This is going to be the first out of many review videos I'm going to be making on Roblox games. So if you guys want me to review a Roblox game, then make sure you comment down below. And if you have watched the end of the video, then thank you. I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Only if you enjoy the content. As I said with my 800 subscriber special, I'm not going to be doing the gameplay stuff anymore. I'm going to be doing reviews or retrospective type of videos. Anyways, I don't really know what my outro is going to be, other than, peace out, I guess.